in your overseeding to address the fact, yes, I am not at GIE. Nope, this is still at the greener lawn. So nope, didn't go over to GIE this year. Wasn't in the works for me, unfortunately. Everybody looks like they're having a blast of a time already. So a little jello, but it's okay. They can enjoy it, and I'll get to see all their pictures and everything. Down to what I want to talk to you guys about today. Hopefully, if you were able to do your overseeding, and I won't drag you along, I'll just bring you along. So if you were able to do your overseeding this year, I want to talk to you guys about that. It should be about the time where you're looking at running out of your fertilizer that you guys had put down. I've been getting a lot of questions, should people be reapplying fertilizer? Yes, there's two things you have to look for at this point in time in the season. You definitely are going to want to address one, the nutrition of the lawn, but two, we are going into a very big prime time of fertilization period for our lawns, especially in cool season lawns. We have this window and this opportunity right now to take care of a bunch of needs that our lawn is going to be going into. I do have a video. I'm not going to get too far in depth here, but I do have a video coming out on Sunday that will address 99% of all this. So look forward to that. But I want you guys to know that if you do have seed and you do have things going on within your lawn that you did do, so you overseeded or you did what you need to do, you need to start looking at another application of fertilizer to push it through the winter. If you used a starter fertilizer, those are normally only good for about 4 weeks of period of time, and then they're all depleted. They're all out. 99% of all fertilizers, that's how they actually work as far as starters are concerned. If you use something else that has a little bit longer duration, then yeah, you're going to be pushing a little bit longer. But most people right now, they're going to see their fertilizer starting to wean off, or they've already weaned off depending on when you did your overseeding. I don't have any comments or anything yet at this point in time, so just hoping that you guys pop in, or else this is going to be my own informational, just to be able to help those who've been asking me the question, is it the right time to be able to oversee? Miss you too, Papa Shafe. I was hoping that you'd see this and pop over, but obviously that did not happen. How's it going, Andy? How you doing? Overall, yes, if you overseeded, if you had those things going on, this is the time that you will want to look at that. But look at it from the standpoint of where we're at in the season. If you have a period of time, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. If you have a period of time where your lawn is going to be going down in between now and sorry, one of my neighbors is walking by to go inside, and so she's making me laugh. If you have that period of time right now that you can get an application down and you have a little bit of a window before we get into winter, you can definitely use another starter fertilizer. That would be a good fertilizer to use right now, because if you can get about that 4 weeks push out of it going into it, it's going to be well fed, and then we can put something over the top of it that will feed it for the winter, the period of time that is the biggest piece that you need to be looking at. When I get done with this, I will leave a couple of recommendations for Winterize fertilizers that I'm going to leave them down in the links down below that you guys can take a look at. If you are, if you are here local in Utah, I can give you a couple more recommendations, stuff that we can get here locally. It's always good to use. If you're not local to Utah, you can definitely reach out and I can give you a couple of instructions on how to find stuff locally if you don't like to use big box stores, those types of things. Even though, with that said, Scott's Fertilizer, they do have a couple of different fertilizers that are really good. I have quite a few different recommendations as far as it's concerned. Please feel free to go ahead and reach out to me and we can address any of those needs. Nobody's really throwing a bunch of comments or questions out in the chat, so I'm not going to keep you guys very long tonight. I basically just wanted to tell people that if they overseeded in the middle of September, if you overseeded at that period of time, your fertilizer has ran out. And we're still in that period of time where the lawn really, really can like thrive if we give it what it needs at this point in time. So you are going to want to look at throwing more fertilizer at it, especially right now. A lot of people think that that they can just fertilize it and be done once they do the overseeding, but you're not doing your lawn justice. You can definitely want to get a little bit more down here in the near future, and it will really help out quite a bit. I have some on hand if you need some. I did never use a bag. I have it laying here, Papa Shafe. But overall, yeah, definitely a good time to be looking at that last fertilization of the series. Oh, you've got a whole bag too. Maybe I'll come and steal yours and actually throw it down. Overall, check out, and see what you guys need to do within your lawns. Don't give up yet. Right now is actually prime time. Like, most people have checked out for the grass season, not realizing that we are absolute prime time for grass season. If you are not utilizing it right now, because what you do today makes next year even better. That's hands down, it's how it works. If you want the best lawn next year, you're doing it now, right now. You're not waiting. You're not saying I'm going to do it next spring. You're putting in the work right now, and you'll see huge improvements in the spring big time. We'll prove it. This lawn right here, I'll push it a little bit harder. I won't push my my sides, and we'll see. I do it every single year. It always pops out the same exact way. We can watch my neighbors' yards around me that don't push it going into the fall and stuff, and they all are like super slow, and that's just how it goes. Let's see what you guys are saying. Nestor, how's it going? Reseeded with GCI Blue Turf last Tuesday. Man, you're late in the season. Fescue already ready to be mowed. Nice, nice. Maybe you're at the right part of the season. Now waiting for the KBG to pop off. It'll definitely do that. What grass type do I have? So I have Kentucky Bluegrass and Rye blend. I like it personally. It's my favorite blend for me and my situation, because I get a really good push from the rye in the spring, and in the fall, those are going to hold really a long time, hold my color, green up earlier, green up later. And then during the summer heat, the rye kind of fizzles out and isn't doing really great, and it's kind of but my Kentucky Bluegrass pops through and keeps me looking great and rocking. So that's the blend that I actually run, and I really love here in Utah. The one that I have done a couple of times, you can kind of see them back here this season, is a turf type tall fescue. And I'm really like experimenting with this lawn right behind me back here. They have a turf type tall fescue that we overseeded with this, like it was late. We actually did it, I believe, in like late June, beginning of July, and overseeded. And it had really good coverage. It's really taken off. And it performed pretty darn well, like super low maintenance. They don't like to do a lot of lawn care. They don't like to do a lot of things. I had them down to 2 times a week watering, and we didn't even dial it in correctly because they're just like meh. And so it actually performed pretty well. So if you're looking at something that is a little bit more hands-off and easier to perform, it's just not as dense. Like, it's not going to grow as dense and as thick, but turf type tall fescue will definitely do its thing over here. But like I said, with my yard, Andy. But for my yard anyways, Kentucky Blue and rye is definitely kicking butt. Flagship. Stay tuned for that video here on Sunday. Stay tuned. I think, Andy, you will be super pleasantly surprised with what I have to say about that. Definitely check it out. It will, like, without giving away too many of my things right now, like, we can talk if you want to reach out to me. We can talk. But overall, it's, like, I have that video coming out, so I don't want to give too much of it away. But you'll be pleasantly surprised there, Andy. I think I'm going to overseed in the spring with straight rye. Lots of dark green spots from last spring's level and overseed seems to be the rye. Thoughts? anything will blend it. Like if you put it through, anything's going to blend it a little bit more just because of how bare your patches got. I think that, you know, you might have got some pocketing, and it happens. Anything that you just like blanket at it with, you're going to feel that kind of that color disparity. It's going to fill it all in. So you'll be totally fine. With the with like which one you should do, I don't think it really is going to matter too much. Either of them will be totally fine. If it was me, I would just do your exact same blend. I'd do it over again and just kind of let it, you know, naturally fill itself back in. But either way that you go, if you were to go with your KBG or you were to go with your rye Papa Shafe, it'll definitely, you know, it will definitely like help that blend in a lot better. I don't know if I ever showed you over in my side yard, and I think I did, where I had that patch of rye that came in, and it was like super soft and it looked super different. Like if you were to take and just kind of like blend like it through, it'll completely do it. So I don't know that I'll ever do that over there, because I think it's kind of cool to have that one little single patch where I go take my shoes off and rub my feet on it because it's so flippin' soft. But you know, it's something that you won't have a hard time with. How's it going, Matthew? Thank you, Chaka. Always enjoy my my Ryobi tools are trash. Love it. A little late. Needed to spray the nasty Bermuda first before I could reseed. So if you can get about 4 to 6 weeks of growth, you should harden off pretty well and you shouldn't have any issues. If for whatever reason it turns cold and it gets before that point, just know that you might have to do a little bit of overseeding in the spring to have a really good overseeding. But the further we can push out to that 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to be totally fine on that. Before you get those hard freezes. Hard freezes is what we worry about in the grass. Little freezes, little cold bouts and stuff aren't too bad. Like grass can really rebound from it. But those hard freezes are what's really going to hurt that small baby grass. And normally want to get 3 different cuts, like good solid cutoffs on it before it really hardens off, because it starts to thicken that blade and really get cold tolerant. I haven't done these in a long time. I missed you guys actually, and I'm actually glad to see people popping on and saying hello. You can come help. I definitely will always come and help. Andy saying hi. Dalai Lamas, how's it going? Andy, okay, can't wait, buddy. Hey, bud, do you know when to winterize sprinkler lines? Oh, and when should the last mow be? So, winterizing sprinkler lines, people get this misconception that they have to get it done before the first hard freeze. Like, people freak out. Don't freak out about that, because normally our water lines are subset far enough that the first hard freeze doesn't hurt it. It's normally the second, third, or fourth, unless, let me take that back for a second, unless you're watering. If you're watering, hard freezes, you can definitely get it to go down and pop those lines. If you're not watering at the time when there's a hard freeze, it's usually the second, third, or fourth before it pops it, because you've got to get the amount of water frozen down further down below, and that's where it'll break. But if you get the first hard freeze, it's only half an inch, maybe even an inch deep, and your water lines will be totally fine. They're not gonna pop at that point. But it's when we get that frost line that starts to push down to around like 8 inches after a few hard freezes is the problem. When would you want to do it? Whenever you're done watering. Okay, whenever you're done watering for the season. I know that seems kind of like redundant, but honestly, whenever you're done, just go ahead and get them blown out. No reason to wait any further. I usually, like mine, I haven't done yet just because we haven't been getting hard freezes, but I haven't had water since September, I think it was 16th is when they cut my water off, but I haven't done mine yet. And I'm not worried about it, just like I said, just because I have a little bit of time before I get those subsequent back-to-back days of hard freezes that you have to worry about. So kind of weigh it out. Stop watering right as you start to see those hard freezes starting to come in, if you have water until that point. The further we get out in these cooler temperatures, like we're just barely hitting like 60s now. So if I was still watering, my watering would be once every 10 days right now. and I'm just being honest, like that's where it would be. Traditionally, I'm only twice a week, or once a week. This year it was twice a week just because of how drought we were and how hot it was. But a lot of years I'm only once a week. And so I would be out to 10 every 10 days right now, and even starting to verge towards, because we're starting to drop like in the 50s and stuff, I'd be even starting to verge towards every 14 days on watering at this point in time, because the temperatures aren't supporting a lot of evaporation. So we're keeping a lot of moisture. So there's no reason to keep pounding water on top of stuff that hasn't evaporated. So push your water out a little bit further, and then once you're starting to see those hard freezes or temperatures just really aren't getting out of the 50s anymore, you can cut your water off at that point in time and then just blow out your lines at that point in time. Sorry for a long drawn out statement, but kind of a little bit of thought processes to the reason why. Hopefully that makes sense. Could you use Tenacity with overseeding? Yes. You could use also it will do some harm to Bermuda in the process. Yes, yes, yes. Anything that does harm to Bermuda is my friend. So like when these guys scalp their Bermuda, I always think that they're my friends, but Bermuda like doesn't care about a scalping. So then I realize they're not my friends. They're just scalping their Bermuda just to have fun and like rub it in my face. Their Bermuda's gonna come back. But yeah, Tenacity does do a lot of, it damages it, but it's not gonna kill it, if I'm gonna be honest. Like Bermuda is too tough, and it is such a weed that it just grows right back. So don't get excited that Bermuda is actually going to get harmed by Tenacity too bad. It's just going to stunt it a little bit. It's going to freak out a little bit. It's not going to kill it. It's that darn weed. Gotta go. We'll see you, Andy. Anytime, as you well know, Andy. So with that said, you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about? Have any questions going into like the winter period? Anything you guys want to talk about for the last like 3 minutes? We'll make it a 20-minute live and we'll call it a wrap. Anything? Questions? Burning desires? Ah, dang, I'm late. Well, then ask your questions. You won't be late. Any questions, comments, concerns that you guys want to know about right before we go into the winter? Like I said, for those of you who are later or join later, right now is actually prime time for grass season. It is what you want to start looking at and get done. Sorry, I'm trying to turn off my, it's like if you are going to do grass, like anything to your grass right now is the absolute best time, because you are prepping it for next season. So if you came late, no, you are not too late to the game overall. You can get your grass and everything looking a lot better for next year if you were to focus some time right now. If you need some like one-on-one help, feel free to reach out to me at jeremyofthegreenerlawn@gmail.com. GIE, we'll get to that in a second. Reach out to me, jeremyofthegreenerlawn@gmail.com, and we will help you out. Because right now, if you throw your hands up, your next season isn't going to be as great as it could be as if you were to dig in and focus right now and just give it a few things. It only needs a little bit of love to be able to perform. I'm going to be honest with you. Grass isn't very difficult. We make it way too difficult when we can just make it super simple. All right, so do you still like your sprayers plus sprayer? Sprayers plus sprayer, yes, I like it. Yes, it has been bulletproof. Yes, it has held up really extremely well. Now, let me tell you my cons on that Sprayers Plus. I'm not throwing the company underneath the bus, but it's been my experience with them. I have got absolute zero customer service from them. Have I needed it for anything spectacular? No, it's just like a few questions that I've asked. I've asked as a homeowner who purchased, because I purchased both my units. I've asked as a creator. I've tried to use my poll both ways, and to no avail. They never reached out to me. The machine itself, like when I reach and I grab it, I grab that normally versus my Petra, but that's only because it's small and it's easy and it's extremely like light. My Petra, on the other hand, is a lot heavier, but it's 4 gallons versus 2 gallons. And I've had it also for, this is the 3rd season that I've had it, and so it's held up extremely well. I have used it for my applications. I've used it for other people's applications, so it's got a lot of use. I honestly, on a 2-gallon sprayer, it's probably had in the realm of 400 to 600 gallons put through it, so it's had a lot of use. It looks the part, but you know, my only thing is that I got no customer service from them when I've reached out to them. Granted, it hasn't been in about a year and a half that I've reached out to them, and people can change and companies can take that a little bit more seriously. But overall, I just didn't get the customer service that I was looking for. Versus like with like Petra, I've had a few different issues with their sprayer, but every time I've texted their little number that they have plastered right on the back of it, they've gotten back to me, and within a couple of days they have something to me, or they have like, you know, like answers or stuff that I am looking for. And so their product hasn't really needed anything major, but in the same sense, when I've reached out to them like for a different strap or for different like questions and stuff, zero answers from them. So yeah, there's a long, super long drawn out. I haven't talked to you guys in so long, I want to talk. All right. So me personally, to blow out my lines, and this is why I turned off my my Wi-Fi so that I can actually walk around. We're not losing you guys. I cheat. I'm going to be honest with you. I really cheated. So I have this up. Don't tell me that it's locked. I'm not trying to flip you around. Let me actually do it this way. I'll be able to see it a little bit better. Okay. Right here, I cheat. So I have this little built-in, and I just turn this on and I blow it out through there. I could have easily just taken, and I have a little piece that I have built that goes right here on the end of this. And it's the same exact like little adapter, but it's just on a little thing that I can screw into right here. So that's how I actually do my blowouts, is I have a blowout valve built in on mine. You can actually stick it on here, and I'll go grab that little piece and show you guys what that is. If you don't have either of these, because you have, say you have a culinary system and you don't have any kind of systems like that, they actually have like on the risers themselves, the sprinkler risers, you can pull one of those up and it screws onto the riser, and then it goes straight in right into one of the sprinkler head risers. Just go to like one of your plumbing stores. That's where I always get all my equipment from. It's from like plumbing stores, plumbing supplies, or even online retailers. But this is the little thing that I use that for people around me that I'm helping out, that I just hand them this little piece, they screw it onto their filters. And that's how we're blowing out our lines. Like I said, if you don't have them, I'll have to reach out to one of the suppliers that I'm working with and see if they actually have those pieces on hand that go on. Hopefully, Dolly, you have the filters, and then it will make it super easy, because that little piece that I have was super cheap. I think I put it together for like $3. Okay, let's see. When would you do winter overseeding? As soon as it freezes, as soon as it's cold, below 40s for your daytime averages, just so that it doesn't want to germinate. You want to get it down when it is cold, and you're not going to risk any premature coming out with water. Because what's the worst thing that you want to do is do it and it swings back up to 60, gets a little bit of water, germinates, and then gets killed off because it freezes. So anytime that it drops below your your 40 degrees, then you're totally fine to go ahead and get that down. Just kind of pay attention to it, that it's not going to swing back up. A lot of people will do it around like Christmas to February time frame, just so it's a little bit later. But you can technically do it as early as like Thanksgiving, depending on the area that you're in. How do you fertilize a blue spruce? So I have little, I cheat. I do it one of two ways. Like I will we're gonna go wandering in my garage. You guys wanna see my rental car? Yay! I got a Dodge Charger, woohoo! My truck is in the shop. So I do it one of two ways when I do it. Sorry, we get to be in my dirty garage for a moment. Of course, I don't see it. Green pop, green pop, green pop, green pop. All right. So I cheat and I will use my green pop for my trees. What I do is I take that and I take and put in 6 ounces of green pop in a 5-gallon bucket. So I'll grab one of my 5-gallon buckets, take 6 ounces and fill that 5-gallon bucket up, and then obviously stir it around really well, and then take and pour that at the base of my trees, like in a big wide circle around it. And that's how I have fertilized these guys out here. There's a couple of blue spruces out here. Or I might have given these away because I had quite a few of them. So the tree spikes, anyways. I use the tree spikes as well. I thought I had given them away, and I did. So I take tree spikes, and something like on these guys over here, I will take and I normally put 3 around these guys right here, and I have one on the opposite side. This one that's in the middle, he's a little bit bigger, so he gets 4 that I just place out around the drip line. So when you say drip line, it's like how wide the branches are, and you just put it down at the edges. Sorry, gonna walk over here, we're gonna talk. So the drip line is all the edges, so at the very extremity of all these, because the roots are going to spread out to about where the drip line is, where all the feeder roots are going to sit traditionally. So you're taking and putting them around. So like on this one, like I said, I put 4. So I put one on this corner. It's a round tree, and I'm saying corner, so figure this one out. Corner back there, and then back corner back there is how I do like this tree. On these guys, they're a little bit smaller, so I put 3. So I'll put one on this side, I'll put one on the opposite side. Sorry, I know how to point. Opposite side, and then I put one in the front. There we go. That's the 2 different ways that I will do my fertilizing of my trees. Not normally, but sometimes if I want to give them something during the middle of the summer, just a little bit of a pep up, I actually take a 1/2 ounce in a gallon of water and I will spray it directly on the foliage. Those are the 3 different ways that I actually fertilize my trees. They're what I know a lot of people will use. The way that I do the foliage one is the one that, like when I've helped people professionally, like doing theirs, I will use Flora Green, and I take that 1/2 ounce to up to 1 ounce in a gallon of water, and then you just spray it directly on the foliage, and it works extremely well on conifers and regular deciduous trees. So overall, that's how I do that. We're well outside the realm of what I was thinking we were going to talk about, but yeah. All right. I had no idea that you could overseed in the winter. I'm assuming this is for a strong spring pop. Any vids on this? I do not personally have it on it. I like to control my seedings. A winter a winter overseeding is not a controlled seeding. It's more like a nature's type of way of overseeding, because you can get a lot of up down out of it that can give you a little bit of a kill off. But it works. It works extremely well, actually, but not as well, in my opinion, as a controlled seeding that's during the spring or during the fall. Overall, you're just hitting a window period where it's going to, start to warm up. You're going to be able to get some water onto it, and then it's going to be able to grow. It's not great for those who don't have control over water or don't have really wet springs. If you have a wet spring or you have control over your water, winter overseedings are perfect, just because you're going to get some natural growth out of it before we have to start manually giving it, water on ourselves. If you have wet springs, they're totally perfectly fine. I could probably do that. My only problem is that we aren't really wet. We're a desert. And two, I don't have control over my water, as I told you earlier. They turned me off on September 16th. But hey, it's always worth a try. I can definitely try it. I'm going to, and this, I guess you guys are going to get a teaser right here. I am going to actually like completely torch my backyard. So it's going to be completely redone. And it really is going to be done this time. Like my wife finally gave her blessing, so I'm able to do what I want to do. But that's totally good. Up here, I guess I could. Idea time. That was my idea face. Okay. I did have this where I had a grub spot and a cute weed. Hey, cute weed, how are you? You're going to die here in a few moments now that I see you. But I did have this spot right here where we got hit by grubs right before the water went down. And I was never able to rebound it. I'll do a winter overseeding on that. We'll make that a video. We can definitely do it there. I think that's the only spot though. Looks like right here at the edges a little bit too. So yeah, I can definitely do a winter overseeding project with that. It's not going to be a huge spot by any means, but I don't know that I'm going to get great results because I don't have the two criteria that I think that I would need with, like I said, a really wet spring and or control over my water, because I don't get water until April 15th. So we could get warmer before April 15th and I would lose a lot of seed that way, but I'm going to try it. I'm definitely going to try that. Thank you for the idea on the video. I think that'd be great. It's gonna be a small spot. I might be able to find some other spots. I'll have to look around, see what I got, and always get it going. Let's see. If you want to overseed with KBG, dormant seeding is preferred because of how long it takes to germinate and establish versus the competing established turf. I'm not of the same opinion. I apologize there. Like, this has nothing to do with you. This is a little bit of the thought process that grass, if it has the space around it, because it's not like too dense, then your grass itself, and I'm trying to not like, I'm definitely not trying to throw anybody under the bus on this, but grass or seeds, if they have what they need, which is germination and light and air movement, so it's not overcompeted for itself, traditionally as far as density of the root zones, you're really not going to run into it. Like, I've never ever, when I've done my overseedings, I've never thinned my grass. I was going to do it this year. I was going to scarify it before I did it, but I've never thinned it out, and I've gotten really good germination traditionally out of my Kentucky Blues. A lot of people will, they say that it overgrows it and it shadows it. I just don't see it. I don't see it, just because moisture is going to germinate that grass seed. It's going to germinate it. Now, it's going to grow towards the light source. Now, if it's overcovered because it's laying down and it's matting it, yes, I can see that. But as far as people are like, oh, it's too tall and it's shading it out, I just don't see it. I personally don't see it if it is not like too dense at the root zone, okay? There's so many different ways of doing things that is what I'm saying right or the only way. No, not by any means, not by any means of the imagination. But do I really see it as a big problem? Not so much, just because life finds a way. And if it's able to germinate, it's going to grow towards the light source, and it is going to come up. Like I said, I'm not discrediting that by any means. If it has unobstructed views of the sun, yes, it's going to grow quicker because it's going to have the light source quicker. It's going to be able to build its chlorophyll. It's going to be able to start producing like it's supposed to. Now, if it has to grow through a jungle of other grass, yeah, it could, theoretically slow it down or hinder it a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be by much. I was hoping somebody else said something because I don't mean to. I like the thought process, though. I definitely do. I think that the water aspect of it is a little bit more there. Yes, actually, yes, and it is along the exact same lines of what you just said, though. I want to try it out just because I saw people saying that. So, growth regulators, what they are saying is that growth regulators are being used when people overseed to be able to slow the growth of the established grasses so that the new grass can actually grow up and start to outpace it and, get to that growth point before like that grass outcompetes it. I was actually going to try that. So I guess my whole rant that I just said is completely asinine if I'm going to be trying it. But yeah, I definitely want to try that out because that's a cool little process. And I do have plans of using a PGR next year. I was going to use it this year, but I didn't get it until later on in the season. And I have Governor G, so they have some weird restrictions that I have to talk with Anderson's on about. Hi, airplane. So they have some weird restrictions about using it during the summer, and I didn't get it until in the summer. So like I held off on using it, and then they cut my water off, and they were like, you have 6 weeks of like breakdown before you lose water and or it going under stress period / winter, and so I couldn't use it again. But yeah, I'm going to do my overseed for my front yard. Obviously not that spot up there because I'll do a winter, but over here I was going to try Governor G. So that's a growth regulator, and or I guess the other one that people were talking about, and you said it just a second ago, a new. Um, it's I was going to try that actually. So like I said, everything I said about that winter one, go back to the water. Go back to the water. Um, but overall, like hopefully you guys have had a really good fall. Hopefully you guys haven't had to go through some of the struggles that us that are in Utah have had to go through as far as our lawns are concerned. But we're not faring bad. We've had quite a bit of water recently. We had really good rain, and you can see up in the mountains back behind me. Like, where's my finger? There's my finger. Right there, you can see that we have some snow up in the mountains. So water is coming in, and we're being blessed with the water and stuff. So I'm not gonna knock that by any means, but hopefully your falls have been a lot better than what ours has, so that you guys could really push during this period of time, as it is the most important time for cool season grasses. Right now dictates how good your season is going to be next year, the easiest. Obviously we can outcompete it at the time, but if you give it the nutrients, if you give it what it needs right now, you give it the TLC, the water, you establish your roots, you push everything deeper and everything right now, next spring, next summer, next fall, you'll be looking a million times better, way better. If you can do work right now. Like I said before, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave it down in the comments down below, and or reach out to me at jeremyofthegreenerlawn@gmail.com. We can definitely hit those subjects for you guys and talk through them on one-on-one. Feel free to reach out to me, guys, anytime. Oh, I skipped that earlier. Anytime, just feel free to reach out to me. GIE this year. So I'm not going to point fingers at my work, but so with my work, I am going to be taking a trip to Costa Rica in April. When you put in a request, they take your time then. And so all my time got taken away that I'm going to be down in Costa Rica. And so I didn't have any time to use now. So I don't have the time to be able to go and get it done. That just didn't have the time at work. Boils down to that. But everybody else is there, so live vicariously through them. And I got a little jealous watching them. That's why I hopped on a live, and hopefully you guys have had a great night. Hopefully we've had a great talk. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, my speaking sometimes is a concern for me. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I definitely would love to chat with you guys one-on-one, and hopefully your guys' lawns are looking a lot better. I'm Jeremy of The Greener Lawn. Make your guys' lawns what you guys want, how you guys want to do it, and hopefully you're pushing hard right now. I'll see you in the next one. That's not your catch line. I'm Jeremy of The Greener Lawn. Make her green.